Greetings to us, my Century the Galaxy, it's the Century Man here, so back again with another episode of the MCU movie review series. So today I'm reviewing the 10th movie of Phase 3 of the MCU, that is Avengers Endgame. This movie was released in April of 2019. I saw it at the time in cinemas with my friends, loved it. I covered Infinity War a couple of weeks ago. This is just me. I said Infinity War is going to be the best MCU movie. I don't say all time, but the best MCU movie they ever made. This movie, Endgame, kind of like takes the silver medal. It's still a good movie, Endgame. They did well in the box office. It's gotta be the best movie of 2019. Endgame. The one thing kind of confused me is the time traveling part. I'll cover that later on in this review. I did not see the trailer for this movie Endgame, because this is the problem with trailers of today. They always give out too much of the plot of the film. Sometimes I hate that, but I didn't really see it at the time, because sometimes I always watch trailers for movies, upcoming movies, what's going on, what's going to happen to that movie, character in that movie. But in Endgames, didn't see it. I think I've seen 2 trailers of Infinity War, but not a single trailer of Endgame, because I knew what's going to happen in Endgame, because Thanos is going to get his comeuppance. Why I need to see the trailer of Endgame? Why? I don't need it. So anyway, so they cover a lot of time traveling in this movie. That was the reason why I just kind of like, this is the reason why I say, Endgame is the second best. It's kind of like, it takes the silver medal. That's just me. It's debatable which two out of the two, between Infinity War or Endgame, which one's one of the best MCU movie they ever made. Endgame or Infinity War. It's like comparing WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 19. Which one's the greatest WrestleManias of all time? It's a very debatable topic. For me, I say Infinity War over Endgame, so that's just me. Anyway, they cover time travel in this movie. Kind of like caught me off guard. They introduce like character developments of characters, and this movie is kind of like the swan song of 2 most important characters of the MCU. Maybe 3, but I'll get to that later on in this review. And I'm going to talk about Thanos' death, the modern day Thanos' death first, to get this movie review started. So, after the events of Infinity War, everyone got blipped. The beginning of the movie had Tony and Nebula kind of play paper American football. Sorry, I got a bit of a sore throat. My voice box is like shut down because I covered England versus the Czech Republic. By the time this movie review is recorded, it'll be on Thursday. So it was Tuesday. I did the live reaction to England versus the Czech Republic. Anyway, so back to this movie review. Anyway, so Tony and Nebula playing paper American football. And it was I don't know, it was a piece of paper. It looks metal, the kind of like maybe it's tinfoil. I don't know. Nebula don't really get the rules of it. You have to flick it. And she won, and the shakes Tony's hands because Nebula never get the hand of it because she's a cyborg, an android, whatever. You can tell Tony's staring face of the death, staring death in the face. I'm trying to say, sorry, kind of it's a bit of a tongue twisting moment. You can tell he looks slim and skinny. He looks like because this is after the Defense of Infinity War. After I'm guessing they escaped planet Titan after Thanos did the blip. Tony was more slim and skinny, and he's staring death in the face. And I don't really talk about physiques in the MCU, but in the I think in Iron Man 1 and maybe Iron Man 2, maybe Iron Man 3, but in the first Iron Man movie, Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. He was buffed. he was completely buff. I see a video, workout video of Robert Downey Jr. Preparing for the role as Iron Man. He's just lifting weights. He's not like he doesn't. I think he doesn't want to become just slim for the role. Because Tony Stark doesn't need to be in good shape because he's in an armor. It's not like Thor or Cap or not really Hulk because it's CGI, but he doesn't really need to get in good shape for the role. I'm not saying be like a slob, but I give kudos to Robert Downey Jr. for getting in shape. But back to this part. He was slim, and then you thought he's gonna die because I think it was in the Guardians of the Galaxy's ship. And then it was run out of oxygen. They tried to repair it, couldn't do it, and then you got introduced Captain Marvel, and it's kind of like what are the bit of the logic problems of this movie? How do you know where Tony is? Because this is the after the events of the post-credit scene of Captain Marvel, a movie I covered last week. You get basically Carol, Captain Marvel, went into the Avengers headquarters, says where's Fury, and then they kind of edit off the scene like he's going to find Tony. How do you know where Tony is? It's Captain Marvel kind of like lift the ship back to Earth. Tony was kind of like staring death in the face. You can tell you had this put the differences aside between him and Cap after the events of Civil War. So about we nearly got him. We didn't. He said we didn't beat him. The one funny dig of Tony is towards Rocket. Says, "Oh, I thought, a second, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear." It's just like, and Rocket says, I think he has said that because it's funny that like when Quill called. This isn't Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Quill called Rocket a raccoon, and Rocket says, "What is a raccoon?" It's just like, what the hell? Anyway, he kind of passed out after, he passed out, and he recovered. And also, they give Tony more character development because in this movie, he's now settling down with Pepper. They're married. I think they confirmed they got married after the events of Infinity War. Now they had a kid called, what's the kid's name? Morgan? I think that's Morgan. I don't know. It's and also they had a father and son. Not father and son, but a father and daughter meeting. Like the daughter says, "Oh shit," and you should be in bed. You can't say that. That's mom's word. And the kid says, "What are you doing down here?" I got most important shit. It's just like I kind of laugh at that. It's one of the funny moments of the movie. Let's get back to Thanos. So basically, it's a bit of a dumbass moment. Basically, Steve says we don't know where he is, and then Nebula says I know where he is, and they went to Thanos' home planet. He's in this type of ranch. His farm, picking up some random fruit or vegetable, and then they attacked him. Captain Marvel attacked him. I don't give the shit about he's the one who can beat down Captain Marvel. They're trying to hype Captain Marvel like she's gonna be the female version of Superman. Like I said in my review of Captain Marvel, she's kind of like the Green Lantern of the MCU, not Superman. Give me a fucking break. Not disking the character. Well, people who like Captain Marvel, either like Captain Marvel, hey, more power to you. But yeah, they beat down Thanos, and Thor chopped Thanos' arm with the gauntlet. And I feel like I call it Hellwrecker in my review of Infinity War, but it's a Stormbreaker. It's the War Axe. They call it the Storm because the hammer is Mongier. That's the name of Thor's hammer, and the War Axe is the Stormbreaker. Thor chopped Thanos' arm with the Stormbreaker, and Rocket saw the gauntlet without the stones. And Thanos says, like, I used the stones to destroy the stones, nearly killed me, that, the work is done, that always will be. He said, I am inevitable. He said it in a line in the fight battle scene in this movie. I'll get to that later on in this review. And then, you had, I think Rhodey says about, we need to check around this place, make sure he's lying. And Nebula says, my father is a lot of things, a lie is not one of them. and then Thanos says about, was it hasty on you, and then Thor basically chopped fucking Thanos' head off, because Thor took Thanos' his advice, because in the end of Infinity War, Thor kind of stabbed Thanos in the chest with the axe, and then Thanos says, you should have gone with the head, did the snap, and this time around Thor just basically chopped you know Thanos' head off. That was a shocker. That was kind of like, it got me off guard. I knew Thanos will get his comeuppance. I thought it's gonna be the modern day Thanos, but instead that modern day Thanos was dead. It's focused on the Thanos from before the events of Infinity War. Yeah, they covered, like it said. There's a black background says 5 years later. We don't. They didn't really cover that well what's going on in 5 years later. Yeah. So, and also the shown a lot of people how a lot of people got blipped superheroes. One of them is Zeldic. From Thor 1, Thor 2. His last live action appearance was in Age of Ultron, but yeah, he got blipped. It has a picture of Scott got blipped, but in reality, he got stuck in the quantum realm. He got stuck in the quantum realm for 5 years after the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then, and I'll get to Scott right now. So Scott got out of the quantum realm, found out what's going on after 5 years, because Hank and Hope got blipped, and he went to this memorial bit, seeing like these plaques of people who got blipped, and he saw his name got blipped. He went to, his house, saw Cassie, who's all grown up, and I look her up. The actress playing older Cassie is an actress called Megan Fuman. And the next Ant-Man movie is called, what's it called? Quantumania. They're gonna recast Cassie once again. I think I said it in my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. They reunite for the first time in 5 years. That Cassie is a teenager, because in Ant-Man and the Wasp, it took place in 2018. She was 10 years old. They cried, and I think Scott says, "You're so big," because Cassie's tall, and nearly the same height as Paul Rudd. She's about 5'7", 5'8". I'm talking about like the actress played like teenage Cassie. Paul Rudd is 5'10", below 6 foot. But anyway, so yeah, Scott lives in San Francisco. I'm glad they had Ant-Man be part in this movie. It makes no sense to not have him, in this movie at all, because what's the point? He gets trapped in the quantum realm in the end events of Ant-Man and the Wasp. If they use him in Infinity War, and also we got a return of Clint Barton as Hawkeye, because I've got another beginning scene of this movie. You had Clint, and his family got teaching, what's her name, Leah? Elia? How to, with the bow and arrow. And then his family also got blipped, and then I'm glad they used, Scott, Ant-Man, and, Hawkeye, Clint Barton in this movie. If they were in Infinity War, it'd be oversaturated of stars, I'm glad they don't have to put everyone in Infinity War. Yeah, like I said, Infinity War is all focused on more on Thanos, but this movie is focused on the original Avengers. That's like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow. I think that's it. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow, the original six, and then they focus on the two characters from Phase 2, that is Rocket, Nebula, and also Ant-Man, and also you got Captain Marvel, she's in Phase 3, but she didn't do much in this movie. She appeared a little bit, she said about, "I won't be that long," and then Rocket did a remark, she's gonna have another haircut. I kind of laughed, because she had a haircut, after they beat down Thanos 5 years ago. So they talked about like time traveling, and they had the funny moments, about time travel. They did like the quantum realm shit, the testing out the quantum realm time traveling bit. Scott came back as a baby, an old man, and a young boy of himself, and then he said, "I don't know who peed." It's just like I don't know. It's the baby, the old man, or you know, and the young me. It's just like kind of laughed, and also, when Hulk. Yeah, I'm gonna address Hulk and Thor's character development in this movie. Let's about Smart Hulk, Professor Hulk in this movie. I said in my review of Infinity War that I think they really disservice the character of the Hulk, in both movies, in Infinity War and Endgame, because in Infinity War, Hulk was there for a little bit, when he got his ass kicked by Thanos, and then in the whole bulk of the movie, Banner struggling to get the Hulk out. I think it was a wasted opportunity to have the Hulk, came back, bust out the Hulk Buster, beat the fuck out of Thanos, get his win back. He never got his win back over Thanos. And then in this movie, he was Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk. He's in this diner. He said about like, oh, for years I treat Hulk like a disease. He's kind the cure. 18 months later in the gamma ray. Look at me now. It's just like, I understand it's comic relief purposes. I'll give Mark Ruffalo some credit to make the character work. But I find his shtick so goofy and annoying because they travel. They focus on time traveling. They travel back, because they're doing this time heist bits, to get the Infinity Stones from different timelines. They travel to the Battle of New York bit from Avengers 1, and then you see Hulk smashing up thing, and he's just like joking around, or like, and he kind of hit the broken down taxi with one hand or arm, one fist, I'm trying to say, but yeah, I just don't like this version of female of Smart Hulk. I think it's from the comics, but sometimes what they did in the comics, it'll never work in live action. But for me, it just came off so annoying, not annoying, but just so cheesy and goofy. And then with Thor's character, he was drunk. I kind of like drunk Fat Thor in this movie. I think his character came off more funny when he's drunk. It was one funny scene, like they're in Norway, New Asgard. Oh yeah, Valkyrie, Return of Valkyrie. We haven't saw her, since Ragnarok. Didn't appear in Infinity War. And then she said to Hulk, "I like the other version of you better." Basically likes the just Banner, not Professor Hulk. I hope they just changed his character in that She-Hulk show that's coming out. Is it late? It's not late It's not late this year. I'm guessing it's early next year, 2022. But yeah, I don't like that. I wish they just use the Hulk, make the Hulk as the Hulk. I understand they were trying not to make the character, one dimensional, but it's just what it is. So anyway, they're in Thor's new house, and then you got Korg and Meek. They're playing. I don't know what game this is. Could be Fortnite or something. You got this guy called, what's it called, Noob Master. It said, "Thor, he's back. He called me a dickhead." And Thor says, "This is me, Thor, God of Thunder. If you keep this up, I'm gonna go to your house and rip both of your arms and shove it up your butt." I kind of laughed. And because he calls Korg a dickhead, this Noob Master, and Thor, his threats. It's funny. He's gonna rip both his arms off and shove it off his butt. It's just like, and also, I understand Thor is fat because people don't like it, but for me, I understand why they're going that direction. I have mixed signals when this film came out, when Thor, you see pictures, the Thor from Infinity War with the short hair, in this movie, they make him as, he's fat. But I understand why they did that, because Thor got nothing left to prove as a superhero, because he killed Thanos. He's kind of like living life after, because because he went through fucking hell, Thor, because he's lost his mom got killed by Dark Elves in Dark World. His dad died in Ragnarok, he disappeared. he killed his sister and his home planet destroyed in Ragnarok, the same movie, and Loki got killed in Infinity War, the last not last movie but the second last movie after before Captain Marvel. So he's gone through he's kind of like broken mentally. He just want to join live. I think he being drunk Thor was funny. He talks about and also his girlfriend dumped him. Jane Foster dumped him, and that's not the case. We're gonna see Natalie Portman in Love and Thunder. So I like, and also he kind of like talks about Jane when he talks about the Infinity Stones, what they are, and also when he traveled to Dark World in 2013, when he sees mother. This is before they got killed by Malekith and the Dark Elves. He said about like I can do this, I can do this, I can't do this. Oh, it's a mistake, and then Rocket slapped him, and then Thor starting to cry, and it's like, are you crying? No. Yes, and also, they had a collab. They did collabing with the good cameo appearances of characters who got killed off in previous Marvel movies. You got like with Thor with his mom, you got Tony with his dad, and you got the Ancient One. I'll get to her a little bit shortly, but yeah, let's wrap it up with Thor and Frigga. That's played by Rene Russo part. So yeah, they kind of collab, and then Thor's trying to trying to pretend it's still him from 2013, and then you got like her mom said to Thor, what are you wearing? That's my favorite. I always wear that. And he saw his eye. You can tell that's not the Thor from 2013. He's the the Thor from the future. It said about like the battle. Thor mentions about the battle of Harlequin. I got hit in the face by a broadsword, and then you got Frigga. Your Thor's mom says about you're not the Thor I know, are you? You're from the future. I didn't say it was the future. And he kind of cried a little bit. Thor's crying. It's not an emotional cry. It's more of a comedy cry. He's one of the bright spots of this film. And also he talks about I'm an idiot. You're not the idiot. He kind of gives him courage. And then he got the hammer. Says I'm still wealthy. First time we saw the hammer since Ragnarok. 2 years ago because Hela destroyed the hammer in Ragnarok. Anyway, so. There's they travel through time to get the stones. Like you got Tony, Scott, Steve, Bruce. They travel to New York, in the events of Avengers 1 to get the Tesseract and the Time Stone. And then you got Thor, travel to 2013 to Dark World to get the Eartha, what's it called? I think it's called the Reality Stone, the Red Stone. And then you got like Rhodey and Nebula travel to Morak to get the Power Stone, the events of Guardians of the Galaxy. And then you got Natasha and Clint travel to Vormir to get the Soul Stone. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But anyway, so we got the cameo appearance of Ancient One in this movie. Because she was in the New York Spectrum in the time of the Battle of New York. She was in Tibet, I think not Tibet, but Nepal in Doctor Strange. You got like Bruce said to the Agent One, "I'm looking for Doctor Strange," and then the Agent One says about "You're 5 years too early." So I said to myself, that's weird because Doctor Strange was released in 2016, so the movie took place in 2017. It's like, that's weird, bit strange, but yeah, he did the whole stuff, the same thing what he did to Stephen Strange in the events of Doctor Strange. Like he kind of touched Doctor Strange. His soul kind of came out of his body. When he did to Bruce, the Bruce side of Hulk came out of his body. That was good. And he talks about Agent One talks about I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up to save your reality to sacrifice my own. He said about like you don't want to branch out. Many people will do. He talked about if you'll take the Infinity Stone from a different timeline, but it's gonna risking come up with a dangerous timeline. So he said about we're gonna bring it back, And he mentioned about Stephen Strange, sacrificing the Time Stone in Infinity War. He gave it to Thanos. So, yeah, he gave Ancient One gave it to Bruce. Um, and cause you thought, cause she thought that like Stephen Strange is royal, and he said it like why he gave up the Time Stone. I think Bruce says for a reason. So I don't know. I'm hinting that Ancient One could return the MCU but you kind of know who he is. It's not like she's dead. She got killed in Doctor Strange, the 2016 movie, but it's not like who you are. He kind of know who Bruce is. So I'm hinting like she'll never be dead. I'm guessing she's immortal. I hope she could come back in future projects. I think she's starting to be she's a good character. Was her name Tilda Swinton, who plays the Ancient One in Doctor Strange. Anyway, so yeah, let's get to the let's still in the New York part, and then I'll move on to Morag, a little bit shortly. But anyway, so yeah, in the second part of the New York part. So they're in the Avengers. I'm guessing they're soon to become the Avengers Tower. They capture Loki, and they did. You got the also cameo returns of Alexander Pierce and Rumlow and Sidwell. Because Pierce and Sitwell got killed in Winter Soldier 2 years later, and Rumlow got killed in Civil War. They're part. Yeah, they were part of Shield. This is before the fight. This is before the events of Winter Soldier. The fact. The deep secret that Shield has been working with Hydra. Anyway, so you got Cap in the elevator, because the elevator scene in Winter Soldier is one of the best. He said like do everyone want to get off, and they start fighting, but this time they're in the elevator. Cap asks Sitwell or Rumlow about this Loki scepter, and Cap said to Sitwell, "Hail Hydra." That was good. And also they did this thing about they did a remark of Cap's ass about that is America. Yeah, that is America's ass. I kind of laughed at that. You had a good fight scene between the two Captain Americas, the 2012 Cap and the 2023 Cap. And he got the scepter, and he see his old version of Cap, the normal the 2012 version of Cap says, "You got to be shitting me," and then. The fighting, and you got like Cap. You got the old Cap says, "I can do this all day," and then the other Cap says, "Yeah, I know." And then I think the Cap with the mask, the 2012 Cap, kind of locked the future Cap in some kind of chokehold, and he said, "Bucky's still alive." He hit him, used the scepter to knock him out, and then he said, "That is America's ass." I kind of laughed at that, It was a bit of a six joke because, Tony brought it up like, I never forget that suit, it didn't do nothing for your ass. And also, this is the same scene from Loki, a show I'm still covering right now on this channel. You had Loki, personating Cap, and also, how do you put your food down, force it, tell him to shut up, and then everyone's in the lift, Hulk trying to get in the lift, and told him to take the stairs. And I saw the deleted scene of Endgame when Hulk taking down the stairs. It's like, so many stairs! And you got basically Ants did a remark. Ant-Man Scott basically did a remark to Tony. If that is Axe body spray, I got an emergency can on the desk. I kind of laughed at that. There's funny one-liners in this movie. Made my day at the time. He messed up with the money reactor core. In Tony's chest piece, made him like he got a heart attack, and then you thought like the normal Tony from 2023 thought like their mission is success. Sorry, I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of tongue tied a little bit. Yeah, he thought their mission is successful, but instead Hulk got pissed off. He took down. He took the stairs instead the elevator, and Loki stole the Tesseract. Loki took a whammy for this because whammy. he got a lot of shit because when the Avengers did, I'm gonna bring up the first episode because basically, Loki said about about the Avengers, I could smell both of Tony Stark's cologne, and you got Renslayer says what they did was good and what you do was wrong. It's really funny that it's kind of true. Well, what they did is right because it's really funny when the Avengers got the Infinity Stones and brought it back to their timeline. They saved the world. When Loki, he basically took the Tesseract and escape. He got captured by the TVA. It set up Loki anyway. So and then they travel back to 1970. Scott says you only get one shot. If you do no do-overs, otherwise you're not going home. So they travel to not going back to the timeline like he said. He said like not going home, but he traveled to 1970, and we got like younger Hank because like old present day Hank got blipped. You kind of make a distraction, distraction. I'm trying to say, trying to distract Hank, and I don't know what he said. And then he went to the laboratory, took the pin particles, and we saw also another cameo appearance of Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell. Get to the end part later on in this review. So, and also we got a collab between Tony and his dad. Tony uses his dad's name and Pepper's surname. Howard Potts. And they kind of like collab very well, and it's all about like becoming, you get, basically Tony give basically his dad some advice of becoming the father. I'm guessing it's better to have Tony because Robert Downey Jr. is born in 1965. This took place in 1970, so I'm guessing he was in his mid-40s, back then. He'd probably be in his 50s because, it took place 5 years after the blip, but, so he kind of hugged his dad, says, thank you for anything, for serving your country, and then he said to this man who will become Jarvis, and, do I met this man before? I seen him familiar, he sounds familiar. And then the Jarvis, the butler, says, you see a lot of people, sir. Yeah, he said weird beard. I'm guessing they got detective, we got this black receptionist who's working with S.H.I.E.L.D., knows they're going to steal the Tesseract, and they managed to they didn't got proper detected. They basically just got the Tesseract and gouged the 1970 without any repercussions, without any harm. So, and also we got the final cameo appearance of Stan Lee. It's sad that because this movie was filmed in 2018. He died at the end of the year. It's just fucking sad. Anyway, so yeah, let's get to Morag. I know before that they also bring up before they travel back through time to get the Infinity Stones. They're talking about they name drop a lot of time traveling movies. Hulk talked about like, oh, your past becomes the future, your present becomes the past. You can't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It did in the movies. And then Scott brings up, that means Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit. I kind of laughed at that. The name drop Terminator, Time Cop, what's it called? Bill and Ted. That movie just came out last year. Was it the hot tub time traveling movie? I kind of like that. And then and you got like Scott brings up so Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit. I kind of laugh at that, man. So anyway, let's get to Morag. A bit, Morag. Rhodey and Nebula, travel to Morag to Guardians of the Galaxy 1. But the opening 5 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy. You got like you got Quill singing. Was it "Gonna Get Your Love"? I like that. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite movies of the MCU, and you had Quill singing and dancing. You got Rhodey knocked him out, took his key. He said to Nebula, "You can't go in there. It might be it might be booby traps and spikes with skeletons on the end of it." And Nebula says, "What are you talking about?" They did a reference to Indiana Jones. I kind of like that. I seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I haven't really saw the old movies. Was it Tomb Raider, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade. I saw some bits and pieces of it, but not the full movie. I really want to review those movies in the future. So yeah, Nebula basically grabbed the orb, and also it connect that Nebula and the other Nebula from Guardians 1 kind of connected because it showed, Thanos saw the vision of, saw the video footage of Rhodey and Nebula getting the Power Stone, and then also they go through Nebula's mind, going through the events, and seeing Thanos, the future Thanos did it, so it makes sense. Thanos is going to, you gotta have Thanos getting his comeuppance anyway, because what he did way back in 2018. So I thought gonna kill Nebula because the difference between the 2023 Nebula and the 2014 Nebula, I use a lot of wrestling terms in my reviews of Marvel. I'm gonna use it anyway, but the Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy 1, she is really a full blown heel, and the Nebula from 2023, she is at this moment in time really a full blown babyface, and they had this, you got like the heel Nebula kick the babyface Nebula ass after they capture her, and the Gamora from 2014. I gotta see, her face turn, was not organic because this is before. Because this is the time like the current Gamora, the present day Gamora got killed in Infinity War. But this is the Nebula from not Nebula, Gamora from the 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy movie. She's kind of like lack of character development, kind of helped Nebula in the end, and you got Nebula basically captured and took the metal part of Nebula, the babyface Nebula's forehead, pretending to be the Nebula from 2023, travel to the future, allowed to the Thanos from before the events of Infinity War, travel through time after they got all the Infinity Stones, and Hulk did the snap, and they shot this missile, explode the headquarters of the Avengers Tower. Yeah, you had like Clint says, Clint. Yeah, let's get to Clint. Let's get to Vormir a bit. Anyway, so yeah, the chance of Vormir, and really shocks me. I thought it was 2018, or before, Thanos and Gamora traveled to Vormir to get the Soul Stone, and Thanos make the sacrifice to kill Gamora to get the Soul Stone. Yeah, this is 2014. I'm guessing this is like maybe months after Guardians 1 and also Guardians 2. That took place months after the events of Guardians 1. So they tried to Vormir, and they had one funny line when they left. Morag says, we're long from Budapest. So when they're gonna, we're not gonna see this Budapest part where they're talking out between Nat and Clint. But that's another story for another time. So the tried to Vormir, you have to make that sacrifice. They're teasing like which one go first. Yeah, basically had you basically had Clint electrocute Nat first. Says tell my family I love them, and and then you got Nat says telling yourself the fighting who makes the sacrifice, and Natasha, they're dangling on the cliff. Nat's final words in the MCU, it says, "Let go." I'll be, it said, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Let me go. I can't remember the dialogue. So yeah, Nat was the first to make the sacrifice. Her death was so dark. Comparing, the same Vormir bits from Infinity War and Endgame, they're both dark between the deaths of Black Widow and Gamora. When Gamora's death, there was no blood. We saw blood pouring out Natasha's head after she, landed deep in off the cliff. But with Gamora, no blood. Her leg is broken. It's just like, wow, that went dark, went proper dark. And you can tell like Clint and Natasha, they're not really friends. They're not really like girlfriend and boyfriend. They're more like best friends, friends with benefits. They missed an opportunity to do like a Black Widow, Hawkeye movie. That'll be good. I think there's some chemistry between Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner. I thought that would be Natasha's, because this movie is a final send off to these characters we love for years. I thought that was the swan song of Scarlett Johansson in the MCU. But unfortunately, the Black Widow movie that's coming out, it was supposed to be last year, but instead it's this year. It's coming out next month in July of our timeline 2021. And I check it on Wikipedia. I find out this is the events took place after Civil War. I said to myself, I think they kind of shoehorned this movie. This movie's gonna kind of kicked off Phase 4, but it's not really. It didn't really kick off Phase 4 because WandaVision kicked off Phase 4. But yeah, they kind of shoehorned this movie. I'm not talking about Endgame. I'm talking about Black Widow. They kind of shoehorned the movie. I wish they just did this. I think they should have done this in 2017. No, not 2017. Yeah, but I say not. I think there were 2 movies in 2017. No, 3 movies. No, 3 movies. Sorry. They should have done it like 2016, or even 20. They should have done it in 2018, in my opinion. But yeah, they should have done it a little bit earlier. I'm trying to say, it makes sense because I said to myself, what's the point doing a movie about a character who's already dead? I know it's a prequel, but it's kind of weird. That's another story for another time. I might review Black Widow in the future. So yeah, Clint said about Natasha's dead. Everyone's like in tears, and you got like Hulk throw like a bench into the sea. Clint said about it can't be done, and Thor said about we might do it. Might snap the fingers, brought her back, but I think they kind of mentioned it like that cannot be brought back. So yeah, I know who's in it. Florence Pugh who plays Paige, and David Hubbard who plays Harper in the Stranger Things show on Netflix. But yeah, why are they doing the events of Civil War? Why can't they do an origin movie? How Natasha Romanoff became Black Widow? How her and Clint met. Budapest. It'd be way better than let's do the events of Civil War. Really, I don't get it. Don't get it. So yeah. So yeah, I think I covered most of it. I think I did name drop Peggy, because in the Shield headquarters in 1970, you had Steve seen Peggy a little bit. This is the 1950s Peggy. It's not the Peggy from World War II, from Captain America 1, first Avenger. So anyway, so let's get to the fight. Let's get to the fight scenes. After Thanos and his army destroy the headquarters, everyone's in the rubble, and then you got Nebula stole the Clint says, it's you, I know you, and then you got the heel Nebula took the gauntlets, and then you got you thought he's gonna kill Clint, but instead you got Gamora. It's very funny. Her face turn is very rushed and organic, compared to, you could tell without, because Gamora in Guardians 1 was the one who sent out to get the Power Stone for Thanos. I guarantee that the Guardians will never existed. She was there, getting the Power Stone, got arrested, they kind of team up to form the Guardians. Anyway, and then you kind of helped the future Nebula, the babyface Nebula. The heel Nebula got shot by, I'm talking about heel Nebula got shot by the babyface Nebula. I said to myself that if the past Nebula got killed, the present day future Nebula will never exist. It's just the time traveling part was kind of very fucking confusing. So the Thanos fight was good. The first stage of the fight is between Thanos, Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. Thanos about to stab Thor in the chest with the Stormbreaker, and all of a sudden someone's lifting Thor's hammer, and that person was Cap. Cap was the second person to lift the hammer. It's kind of like a throwback to Age of Ultron. This was in the party scene, Thor did the challenge. Who could lift Thor's hammer? Cap was the unlucky one in that movie, and so the first person to lift Thor's hammer in that movie, I'm talking about Age of Ultron, was Vision. And then 8 years later, in 2023, in Endgame, was Cap. Cap was worthy to lift Thor's hammer, because I think back then he was not worthy back in 2015, and then fast forward to 2023, he is worthy to lift that hammer. And then Thor says, "I knew it," and then like minutes later, you had Cap holding both the broken down shield and the Stormbreaker, and Thor with the hammer, and he said to Cap, "No, no, no, I can have this, you can have that." So basically swapping weapons. Cap holds the hammer, Thor holds the Stormbreaker, the War Axe, and also in the second half of the fight between the Avengers and Thanos and his army, we've got the return of the heroes were dead or got blipped after the events of Infinity War. The rest of the Guardians, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Hank, Hope. No Nick Fury. That's a damn shame. I want to see a cameo appearance of Nick Fury. He did show up in Tony's funeral, but never in the fight scene. It could be really good to see him shooting down aliens. And yeah, you got Pepper and Valkyrie. They never got blipped. I don't get it. They didn't got blipped. They were around. You had Valkyrie riding Pegasus. Pepper wearing her own suit. It was a purple suit. Iron Woman. I'll get to that a little bit shortly. So, the second, and Black Panther also was in it. Zeru's in it. The fight between Thanos' army and the Avengers, it felt like a multi-man tag team match in pro wrestling, because everyone had their moments, everyone got their spots, and also they did a lot of callbacks of previous Marvel moments. Sorry, I kind of stumbled. You had Black Panther and T'Challa saying Clint's name, because in Civil War, in the airport fight between Cap's team and Iron Man's team, you got Clint says to Black Panther, "Hey, I'm Clint," and then Black Panther says, "I do not care." And fast forward to 2023, this movie in Endgame, T'Challa says, "Clint, give it to me." That was basically Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa's final line, because I said to myself, "Holy shit! One year later, we're not gonna see Chadwick Boseman ever again in the MCU," because I talked about his death in my review of Black Panther. Go and check it out. Anyway, so, and also you had Hope, say Cap for the first time, because he kind of give Scott a lot of shit, because because basically Scott dropped himself in the shit after the events of Civil War in the airport fight scene in Germany, because that's the reason why the lost contact between Scott, Hank, and Hope, trying to set up the fan. You got like a mini fight scene between Captain Marvel and Thanos, and also got a fight scene between Thanos and Scarlet Witch, and you got Wanda says, "You took anything away from me," and this is not the modern day Thanos, because the present day Thanos, I'm trying to say, I know it's modern day, but I'm going to call it present day Thanos. It's getting really confusing, but the present day Thanos says, "I don't know who you are," and Wanda says, "You will be." And I said to myself, what, you got Monica Rambeau, you guys mentioned in an episode of WandaVision that, if she never got blipped, Scarlet Witch will be the one who kills Thanos. But I feel that kind of true, because Scarlet Witch has got to be one of the most really powerful superheroes in the MCU, or maybe throughout the whole superhero universe, alongside Superman and fucking Captain Marvel, because for the examples, like she in Age of Ultron, she kind of ripped the heart through the chest of Ultron after she killed her brother Pietro. So the Spider-Man was talking in his movie, when he came back, he said, Mr. Stark, he talks about when he got blipped. And this is the one nitpick about Tom Holland. I like him, but sometimes he's blah blah blahing. That's just me. I'll talk about his character when I review Far From Home. Anyway, so he riding on Pegasus. That was in the backside of Pegasus with Valkyrie's riding Pegasus, and then she was holding he's holding Thanos's it's not Thanos's gauntlet, but it was because the Avengers made a customized gauntlet shaped like Thanos. Hulk did the snap, everyone's back. And also when Cap hears Sam's voice, He says, "Do you read me? I'm on your left." And on your left was a throwback to Winter Soldier, because when Cap and Sam met, yeah, Steve and Sam, but you know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, so yeah, I feel like this is I feel like a multi-man match in pro wrestling. Everyone has their moments and spots, and also you had 2014 Gamora and Quill. Quill thinks that's the Gamora from present day, but that present day Gamora was dead. But instead, I don't know what Quill did. I think it's like, touch her hair, and then Gamora says, "Do not touch me," and kicked Quill in the balls, and then Gamora said to Nebula, "That's him? Seriously?" And then Nebula says, "Second choice is a tree." Can't laugh at that. So I'm guessing, hinting that in Guardians 3, they are looking for Gamora, because they'll be around in Love of Thunder. Anyway, so they kind of tease like Thanos is gonna do the snap again. I am inevitable, and find out he did the snap. Unfortunately, the stones are missing with the armor. In the gauntlet, I'm trying to say, and Tony got the snap, and also Doctor Strange did the wand. He pulls out wand, so I'm guessing hinting like, "You're the one, Tony," and Tony, says, and I am Iron Man," because they do a lot of callback lines from previous Marvel movies. When Tony says, "I am Iron Man," that was the final line from the first movie, Iron Man, when he did the snap. Thanos' armies. There are a lot of Chitauri in the final fight scene. It was kind of like a good throwback, because I think Tony being the one to stop Thanos was the right decision, because Iron Man was the first movie to stop the whole of the Infinity Saga, the whole of the MCU. When he did that, and killed and sacrificed himself for the great good. I think there was one line from Avengers 1. It Cap said to Tony, says, "You're not the guy who throw yourself under the barbed wire for everyone else." And then and Tony says, "Nah, I just snapped the barbed wire to get through." So he basically sacrificed himself for the greater good. See, Tony lifeless. Spider-Man, Peter Parker cried. You see Pepper cried. Said, "You can rest now." Seeing cried, I said to myself, when they did the snap, is Tony's door no longer exist in that timeline? So that timeline with everyone got blipped doesn't exist. I don't get it. The time traveling part was so goddamn very confusing in this movie. But seeing Tony lifeless and the reactor core, the chest piece, the light gone out, that was just sad. It's a bit of a tear jerker moment, and that was sad. But I think because this movie is the swan song for not just Robert Downey Jr., because Robert Downey Jr. is Marvel through and through. He's been through thick through thin. He's been there from the very beginning. He almost left in 2013 after the events of Iron Man 3. He removed the jet piece, no longer become Iron Man, but he signed on, become Iron Man once again. In Age of Ultron to Endgame, he's the one to make the sacrifice. That was good. Everyone teared down because Tony sacrificed himself. It'd be weird to have Tony be the one to survive. The tease Tony would die, but instead he died. It makes no sense Tony be still alive after he did the blip, because Thanos says that blip almost killed him. So yeah, we did the funeral scene was good to focus a lot of characters who was friends and family with Tony, including his daughter, who's still alive. I don't get it, but that's just me. And I said to myself, yeah, it'd be really cool if they did, Pepper takes the mantle of Tony, become Iron Woman. That'd be good. I think she did okay. Betraying the role, wearing the purple suit, hinting she could be Iron Woman. That'd be good. Because they're kind of exploiting the multi-universe part of the MCU so far in Phase 4. But I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow, I think she's done. Never say never, but I don't think she's coming back, So seeing everyone there. We saw the return of Harley. Harley's the kid from Iron Man 3, showing up at Tony's funeral. The only person or the two people who were not there were Fission, who got killed off by Thanos in Infinity War, and also Coulson. Where the fuck is Coulson? Coulson's never didn't came back. He got killed off in Avengers 1 by the hands of Loki, and then all of a sudden you never see him ever again. Yeah, he appeared in what's called the Agent of Shield show, but you never see him in the MCU ever again. So I think it was a wasted opportunity. So anyway, so let's talk about old Cap at this moment of time. Trying to close out this movie review series. It's getting very long. Anyway, so not very long, but very long. Anyway, so to Cap kind of returned the Infinity Stones from their timeline, and he came back as an old man, and he said about Tony tells him about enjoying life, so he gives Sam the shield, and that planted the seeds of Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, a show I just covered months ago. And I'm glad, and also this movie is not just a swan song for Robert Downey Jr. This is also a swan song for Chris Evans, his time in the MCU, because they've been there for years. They've been there from Phase 1, because I think Chris Hemsworth is staying to do Love and Thunder. Mark Ruffalo is staying to do the She-Hulk show. He might do a future project. Might do a Hulk movie down the road. Scarlett Johansson, is doing one movie, the Black Widow movie, and that was it. Hawkeye's doing his own show, so most of them stick around to future movies and TV shows. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is also setting up Captain America 4. It will be probably called, in my opinion, it'll probably be called Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That'll be good. Anyway, so that's weird because he traveled back in time. The final scenes between Steve and Peggy dancing in the house, because it's another callback to Captain America 1 First Avenger, because basically they're supposed to have their date, their dance. Because they never got that dance because Steve was frozen in the block of ice for nearly 70 years. So seeing Steve showing up, I'm guessing that was after the war, seeing her and Peggy dance and kiss for basically the second time, because they kissed during World War II. That really sums out the end of Endgame. So yeah, it's kind of like funny. I said to myself that if Steve traveled back in time to reunite with Peggy, that means him and Sam never met. I just don't get it. That was the reason why I give it a silver medal, because it's the time traveling bit was kind of confusing, and also you got a collab between the two Chris's. Quill and Thor battling who is the leader. I think they had the funny moments like they should fight for the leadership. Bring out knives and some crap like that. And also Thor said about as Guardians of the Galaxy. Man, I wish they call it, instead of Love and Thunder, that'll be good, as Guardians of the Galaxy, because Thor and the Guardians are in the next Thor movie. That'll be good. That's just me. So yeah, I think that's it. And also, after this movie end, me and my friend were waiting until the post-credit scene. Unfortunately, when this is the only MCU movie without a post-credit scene, because throughout the MCU they do like post-credit scenes to really set up movies. I thought you were going to set up the start of Phase 4. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I think the next movie without a post-credit scene will be Black Widow. Because it makes no sense to have a post-credit scene at the end of that movie, because that will be Scarlett Johansson's swan song in the MCU. So yeah, it closed out. In my opinion, I wish this movie closed out Phase 3, but Far From Home was the final movie of Phase 3 before the whole COVID-19 pandemic hit, and then the Marvel Disney Plus shows started. I think it ended pretty damn well with the basically with the old school music. It's really good. So yeah, I'm gonna end this movie review on Endgame. So yeah, I think it's a good movie. They focused more on storytelling. Time traveling part was a bit confusing, but it's so and so. It's like I said, a swan song for both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans in the MCU. they're gonna set up. I heard the character could come back. I'm talking about, Iron Man. It'll be someone else. It won't be Robert Downey Jr. because what's the point? He's making that sacrifice in Endgame. Did the snap, but yeah. So yeah, I give it a five. I give it 5.5 out of 10. Not 5.5 out of 10. I give it 5.5 stars. My final rating for this movie. I think Infinity War for me was the best movie. That takes the gold medal, and this movie takes the silver medal. So it's got to be in the top 5 best movies of the MCU. Might do an overall ranking of the MCU movies in the future. So yeah, we got 2 more episodes. Actually, we got the final 2 episodes. We've got the next, the final movie review in this MCU movie review series. It's going to be Spider-Man: Far From Home. Then I'll do my ranking the Phase 3 movies to best and worst, and that will be the end of the MCU movie review series. I might review Phase 4 movies in the future. So yeah, this movie review it's nearly an hour long. I kind of bend the rules a little bit because my MCU movie review series, my review of these MCU movies, I'm trying to keep it about half an hour to 45 minutes. So this is nearly an hour. It's just like it's too much to talk about. And also a bit of a side note, when the butler, it was confirmed to be Jarvis, it's a damn shame they didn't have Paul Bettany in that role, because he become Jarvis in computer form in the future. That's just me. And Tony, I think Tony and dad, and also Tony's dad was played by, I think he's John or Jack Slattery. I thought it was gonna be Dominic Cooper, but instead had the guy play John Slattery, and John Slattery's not that old. I think he's in his 50s. I thought he was older than that, but anyway, good to see John Slattery in that role as Howard Stark. Younger Howard Stark, not Dominic Cooper from Captain America, First Avenger, and the Agent Carter show. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this movie review on Endgame. So hope you enjoy my review of Avengers Endgame. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What's your thoughts on the movie? Smash the like button, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos, Marvel videos, and more. Yep, next time, the final movie to review in the MCU movie review series is Spider-Man: Far From Home. This is Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.